Hi, I'm Doc Palmer. I'm the author of McGraw-Hill's Maintenance Planning and Scheduling Handbook. Maintenance planning and scheduling is the best practice. It's also a competitive advantage because most people don't get it. Planning, well, just obviously got to plan work before you do it. Scheduling, well, we got to schedule. We don't think about why. It's just obvious. But it's just fraught with opportunities for doing it wrong. In fact, most people don't get it. That's why planning and scheduling is usually a frustration and adds work that's not productive. But done correctly, it is a competitive advantage, and it gives you a pop in work order completion rate and better job execution over the years. The first unusual concept is that planning is not telling people how to do their jobs. It's giving them a head start and then running a Deming cycle where we institutionalize, we collect information from these professionals doing the work and make better job plans over the year. That leads to better job execution. Equipment lasts longer because you worked on it correctly and you have better reliability. The scheduling, though, is necessary for increasing our productivity. We've staffed ourselves over the years to do all the reactive work. How do you drive out all the reactive work, though? Well, you have to do more proactive work to keep things from breaking. But you have your hands full of reactive maintenance, and you're doing a good job with it. Well, done properly, scheduling gives you a 50% pop in work order completion rate. The extra work being purely proactive by definition, since you've covered the reactive work. Thereby, you drive out the reactive work altogether, or you're getting closer to it, which is increased reliability, and you make more money. You accomplish your mission in a safer, legally more environmentally friendly way. You're predicting what you're doing, and you're doing it. Things don't just happen where you rush in the middle of the night. The concept with the scheduling, though, is you have to defeat Parkinson's law. Parkinson's law, the amount of work assigned expands to fill the amount of time available. Recognizing that, we just need to fully load schedules and say it's okay to break the schedule, because we do not live in a perfect world. But doing that helps us complete more work than we would normally complete, which is the purpose of scheduling, to help us do that. So today I want to talk about Bill Biekert's book. William Biekert, his website's on my written comments for this article. It's www.williambiekert.com, and you can get his book, Beyond the Delusion. This is the business case for the digital twin. I had a warm, fuzzy feeling. I met Bill last month and got a copy of his book. This is why you need a digital twin, why you need a digital plant, and what is it? We want all the electronic information in our computer system. We've been talking about the CMMS, Computerized Maintenance Management System. We want to start with a digital twin. It's not enough for a project manager, engineer to leave you with a physical pump. That pump should be in our system, all the information with it. And it's not going to happen without management assistance. So I just want to flip through the book. The Beyond the Delusion title is upper management is deluded that they think everything's fine, but it's not fine, and it's going to take their insistence to get us what we need. Once the plant's built, the money is in operations and maintenance throughout the life of the facility. So let me just flip through this. I read this entire book the night that he gave it to me. And then I got to talk to him the next day because I had met him at a conference. Wonderful book. Executives often lose sight of the daily operations. They're on to the next big project. And there's a dangerous disconnect between management and reality. The leaders at all levels must open their eyes. They've got to install a mindset for improvement throughout the organization. That's the Deming. And bridging gaps between teams, tools, and processes. And improvement is beyond the status quo like that. We've got to admit change is constant. The training and investment in technology is just critical. This technology, having electronic information, and he just says there's a myriad of inefficiencies between departments. That's my take on organizational theory. We're good at specializing, we're poor at coordinating. Things fall in the cracks. Leadership must consistently reinforce that continuous improvement as a shared responsibilities. Upper management, we don't just put these silos in place. We've got to manage and mandate the interface between them, and it starts from the top. And so what we're reading this book for is we can get that support from the top. Finance and accounting data gets standardized. Asset management's just a mess. At the end of a project, they just give you an O&M manual. And maybe the as-builts aren't any right. And who's going to put it into the system? The project thinks that the plant's going to do that. That's wrong. He says data cleansing is a misnomer. What's needed is rigorous data enrichment and cleanup. It says when we're doing future project in the plant's life, the plant was built, 5 years later we're doing a project. A lot of times we hire outside consultants to research information in the field. That should already be in there and be up to date. A huge waste of time there. We spend a significant amount of time just simply searching or deciphering existing data. We've got a lot of false assumption in our plants that craftspersons have optimized tool time because everything's been set up how they should do maintenance. Well, I can tell you that's not true. Operators take shortcuts on field inspections. Maybe they don't believe the checklists that they have are right. Work requests are written incorrectly because we don't have the right data in the system. And technology is just soaring ahead at a pace even experts cannot predict. We look at upgrades in our systems and stuff, but only when we're forced to for end of life. We ought to be investing in technology. It's something you have to do to be prepared for the future, not just when you suddenly get to age 60 and say, hey, I wonder if I have enough for retirement. Many companies are ignoring this, waiting for the next team down the road. The higher managers focus on finance, not tools for frontline EAM, enterprise asset management. That's the CMMS and beyond. IT people watch cost, they don't watch efficiency. Then the next chapter, why is data so valuable? It's mandatory for companies to remain competitive for digital technology. Digital assets, that's having it in your system and up to date and helpful, are equally essential as the physical ones, but the implementation often lags. We have outdated procedures that fail. See, I'm into running a Deming cycle to continually update as we learn stuff. We need to start out with good stuff. We need to build those electronic assets meticulously, linking them. Companies just miss the boat. The data stays siloed and scattered. And then Bill says, I'm not talking about having somebody put together the data for review. It should already be coming into our systems as construction progresses. The digital asset, he's got a great example here. The concept of the digital asset, like a telephone, your cell phone is the physical asset. All the apps, photos, and contacts inside are the digital assets. It's not, I've got a pump. You've got to have all that information in your system. AI-based solutions are going to be processing thousands of data points to supply direction much quicker. Is your data correct? We need a rigid process for vetting, entering, and governing your stuff as it goes in, especially for spare parts inventory. You got numerous versions of the same part in your system. This got a lot of stuff. It's a great book. I'm just going to a couple of things I've highlighted. Examples of this data: equipment information, spare parts, equipment identification items and pictures, drawings, data spec sheets, PMs, lockout, tagout information, work notifications and work orders, operational inspections readings. And then data utilization versus creation. Engineering is responsible for creating and deliver the assets, the physical asset and their digital data components to the facility. That's their job. That should be in the spec. You say, well, it's a $500 million project. We can't afford that extra stuff. We're trying to build it as cheap as possible. Excuse me, not cheap, as less expensive as possible, so we can get up and running and make money. Well, you're really compromising yourself, and we have to have a balance there. Is it too expensive to build if we have to do all the other stuff? But this is a big deal. Of course, I'm preaching to the choir. I want this data so we can maintain the plant. Poor deliverables when an asset is brought to life as part of an engineering project defines a path for struggles throughout the asset's life cycles. We need clearly defined deliverables from us in maintenance to get to the project. Maybe they don't know. We always presume other people know. Well, I thought they knew. The facility requires senior management driving interdepartmental understanding and work processes. We're good at building silos. We're good at specializing. Things fall in the cracks. We need standard deliverable tools. Maybe from the beginning to the end of asset development through its handover. The project needs tools. They'll say, we'll give it to you. How do you want it? Can we give them a spreadsheet or some sort of tool that not cleanses but makes the data right when it's put in? That'd be a good idea. And then mid-level staff. They're in fear of giving the wrong impression to upper management. So the front line suffers. I think Tom Peters, I don't have the reference for this. Tom Peters, famous management consultant, says, middle management adds negative value. They're keeping the front line from getting the right information because they want to look good for upper management. That's a gross stereotype, but I think it's a probably good one. And I would agree with that. So we'll make that my recommendation, not just Tom Peters. The goal of an enterprise solution is to encompass all the activity within a facility within a single solution. So that's enterprise asset management. Such that interdepartmental items can easily interact efficiently while ending siloed work processes and tools. Yeah, we've got to put a system in place that helps us with the coordination. We're good at specializing, we're poor at coordinating. Things fall in the cracks. We want to design and have the information to avoid that. The EAM misconception, that's a part of the book. Many assume it's just limited to plant maintenance tasks. No, it's a comprehensive system supporting the company's physical, digital assets and the production teams. We need to jump into this electronic stuff with both feet. There's standards that are available to help you give nomenclature to your equipment so you can put it in a good format. Naming standards. The naming standards and hierarchy is an extremely critical piece of your enterprise system design. He gives information on that. We want a work request against the correct asset. I'm big on getting requesters to use the tag in the field and try not to hunt for it in the computer. The computer ought to help us with that. So, items such as mobility tools, barcoding, pictures, videos. We want to invest in continual training in these work processes. I'm big on saying we spend a ton of money on a CMMS and then we don't spend much money on training because maybe it's just a maintenance planner thing. That's not right. Visit to the field, estimating the time needed for each craft. We're doing work. The more we know about an asset, the better we can plan jobs. And then he's down here, he covers Parkinson's law without naming it. Excess hours added to a work order because the data is unclear adds inefficiencies. We'll give them extra time just because we don't know. As much as we do know, we ought to put on there. We ought to know what we know as a company, not keep researching that. We want to ensure full utilization of resources. That's me fully loading schedules. If we're not careful, planners will be conservative with estimates, giving people too much time because we don't know. Work packages, instead of printing out, we got to do more digital information. Feedback, we need feedback that'll be easily entered into our system. Yes, amen. Corrections needed when we're closing the work order. And then at the end of each chapter, Bill puts a shining the light. Shining the light here is investing in digital-based processes to feed this segment. It's making plans better. Will enhance data capture immensely and pay large dividends. Yeah, big. This is big. There's money involved. Big dividends. Understanding the digital asset, chapter 5. The digital revolution has mandated that everything be digitized. No more clipboards or paper trails. The denial of the digital imperative does a disservice to workers. Today's assets consist of two distinct parts, the physical asset and the digital asset, sometimes referred to as the digital twin. So there's your definition for that. Ensuring ownership for both and care for both is critical. We don't just want these assets delivered at the end of a project. We want it loaded into the systems so they're readily available for use when the asset is brought to life. I'm thinking here of Frankenstein brought to life. Standard digital assets are developed before any physical asset is brought to life. Okay, so you're bringing the consciousness to life first. You got different file types coming from different vendors. You've got to get those in the right format for your system. It's a big deal. Processes and tools for those data streams coming from the vendors and projects, making sure they're going in the right format. Don't just think it's going to happen because you said it's going to happen. Steve Jobs, there's a quote here in part 2 of the book. Technology is nothing. What's important is that you have faith in people, that they're good and smart. If you give them tools, they'll do wonderful things with them. That's a Steve Jobs quote. Today's asset life, he talks about the asset life cycle in chapter 6. Digital assets come first. Operations, maintenance, and shutdown activities will be executed over and over and over and over. Have that information in your files. The main culprit of poor digital asset components existence within the EAM enterprise system is the departmental boundary crossings. We're good at specializing, we're poor at coordinating. Big opportunity, capturing the data in a format that's necessary. People think it's not required for commissioning, but Bill says it is. That should be part of the commissioning and handover. Other opportunities, talking about as-builts, things are done a little bit different as you're putting the stuff into life. Preventive maintenance, we want the feedback as we're actually doing the work. There's a lot of good stuff here. The data capture concept. Don't leave it until later. Embed data collection into everyday processes. Yes, throughout the life of the plant. As a new equipment comes online, we must act urgently. It's a non-negotiable deliverable. I seem like I'm saying the same thing over and over, but he's really explaining this well if you want a death grip on the digital asset. He would like for you to consider having a dedicated coordinator for the digital asset management. I mean, that's enough for a position, for a person to do that. Tie it to progress payments for the contractors. If you don't give us the digital twin, you're not getting paid. When I was an engineer, I didn't get the right spare parts package from a vendor that I bought a pump from. I told the purchasing department not to pay them. And they didn't get paid until they gave us the spare parts. And I don't think it was even the parts. It was just the list of spare parts. I'm really not a bad person, but you've got to mandate this stuff. The best solutions allow development of data to be completed directly within the system by users in an area that's separated from the production items. Okay, so when we're loading the data from the project, we load it into maybe a sandbox play area. You look to see that's good, and then you plow it into production. So there's a little bit of maybe a gap there. Maybe we should put it directly into production. That's a good question. He's saying, look at it first before you plow it into production. Spare parts. We ought to have pictures of spare parts. You can do it, but it takes commitment, and it's extra cost. Yes, upper management's got to insist that we need that. Middle management says, well, we're trying to save cost. They tell the bottom management, you don't really need that. That's a mistake. Email's not the answer. You've got to get this stuff put into the system, not given to somebody else to put in the system. Getting toward the end of the book, the path forward. IT is critical. The IT group. But IT people don't spark the innovative ideas as far as using the data. That's us saying, hey, it would be nice if we had, and we want in-house IT support. I've always said that. Don't just pay lip service to innovation. True business innovation requires a dedicated team focused on improvement with methodologies. I know a lot of companies have a black belt that does that. There's a group that's looking at stuff. Technology changes faster than anyone can keep up. But if you do not try, it will bypass you quickly. You'll wonder how you got so far behind. That's a great quote. You want somebody that continues to question the norm. You want a true change agent. You need a person with a solid business ground that's also technologically savvy. Rigidity is a barrier. We've got to be more like Google when they talk about agile. Perfect can be the enemy of good. See, that's the Deming cycle. You got to be willing to admit you're not perfect or that you're trying to start out perfectly. You got to get something up and go and have a process in place to make it better. A little bit more here. Great stuff. Flipping through some of this, not because it's not super valuable, it's just I don't want to read his whole book in a couple, 3 or 4 hours here like I did one night. Some quick wins are a key. Sharing the results. Talking about being a change agent. Share your value. Stay the course. User engagement. We must tap into the vast insights of end users themselves. Takes effort. You have to do it actively. See, that's our craftspersons are the professionals. We don't want them to blindly follow a job plan. We want them to be saying, my company's trained me, I'm an expert, I've got a lot of experience, here's what we should really do. Tell the planner we update a job plan. We want that with the whole EAM, the Enterprise Asset Management, CMMS. As a leader in any capacity, how often do you ask about things causing inefficiency? I've got a friend at church who talks about missile guidance system. When the missile's getting off course, we give it a nudge. When it's going off course, we give it a nudge. But when it's going the direction we think it should go, we don't nudge it. We need to question if we're doing the right thing. You got to have a super user of your EAM. So when you hit a technology roadblock, get the super user involved. Super user, he likes having a super user. Ongoing support. Leadership. He started the book with leadership. He's got to end with leadership. The path to success has always been paved by strong leaders. Full buy-in starts at the top. And technology, and he ends with technology and our future are intrinsically linked. Technology is a big deal. Future-proof your organization by diving headfirst into the digital realm. And I just give my speech on leadership. Managers, steady the boat. Are we doing okay? Everybody rowing okay? We're making 10 knots. We're going true north. Leaders, rock the boat. Yeah, we're doing a fine job. We're making money, but there's more money, more safety, more environmental safety, more accomplishing our mission. If we turn 5 degrees to starboard, you're killing us. We're doing fine. We're making money. Why are you messing us? So managers steady the boat. Leaders rock the boat. We've got to know if we're going the right way. We've got to question if we're doing the right thing. So you leaders at all levels, this is a great book, Beyond the Delusion. Don't think because you're making money you're going the right way. Don't just steady the boat, but rock the boat. But thanks for letting me give you my 2 cents. Thanks for letting me join your maintenance family, and God bless.